There's a spot on the hill where you look down below at the town that bustles and the town that flows and the town that does nothing but grow, grow, grow. And you see what you gave and all that you did, the sacrifice you made for your spot on the hill. When we were young, my sister Fannie and I used to play a game. We'd play it on rainy days in the family attic, just the two of us sitting by the only window, looking out over the yards and fields. It was a secret between us, something only sisters shared. We'd place our grandfather's old hat between us, and there in the gloom, we'd plan our futures. On small slips of parchment, we'd write words, then fold them in half and let them fall into the hat, the words slipping from our lips like a prayer or perhaps an incantation in a magic spell. What would our future hold? Happiness, a family, 2 children, a boy and a girl, and a dog and a cat. Good books. Oh, a white dress with lace in the sleeves just like Queen Victoria wore. A fine home. A loving husband. What sort of man would we marry? Tall, blonde hair, brown hair, green eyes, no, blue, smart, charming, altruistic with the kindest of hearts. Tucked away in the attic, giggling in the dark, it was easy to imagine it would all come true. A good life, a long life, a wonderful life. And parts of it did come true because there was you, James. The first time I met you, I knew 3 things for certain. You were the finest gentleman I'd ever met. Your ambition was boundless. And I loved you. We'd go through walks through the town, and you'd point out all the properties you wanted to own. You'd take my hand and tell me about the future, about how you wanted to have a mercantile store with clothes for men and women, and a dry goods business, a legacy that could be passed down to all of your heirs. You'd point to Old Manchester's Inn and say, one day I'm going to own that, Caroline. One day I will be James Dosser, most successful businessman in Jonesborough. And I believed you. It wasn't bragging or boasting when it was coming from you. It was the truth. And I never once doubted you. I did not know, I could not conceive that one person could have so much ambition and so much kindness at the same time. But you have always wielded both with such decorum and grace. And I did not know, I could not conceive that someone could love me as much as you did and still do. On that cold November day in 1848, when I became yours and you mine, it seemed as if every prayer I'd whispered into that old hat had come true. Happiness, a loving husband, a fine home, 2 children, Mary a girl and Charles a boy, a long life. 27 years doesn't seem so much, but when spent the right way, it's the perfect type of eternity. And I know 5 years of marriage seems like the batting of an eye, the drawing of one sustained breath, but believe me, James, it was everything. What you gave to me during that time was more than I could have ever hoped for, ever wished for. The fever took me, yes, but it didn't take Mary or Charles, and it didn't take you. You still have your ambition and your loving heart, your mind and your spirit, all your years. You buried me atop Rocky Hill in a beautiful spot. You once bought land at the bottom of this hill, told me you were going to build a new home there someday, a home big enough for 4, hopefully more. But you sold it, maybe because it reminded you of me. I know it's a terrible irony that I ended up here and not down there with you, so close and yet so terribly far. You've made sure I'm well cared for, as I always knew you would. A beautiful marble cradle bed with a wreath, 2 lovebirds, me and you, and our little eggs in the nest, Mary and Charles, etched into white stone. It's beautiful, James. The most exquisite marker in the whole cemetery. I know how you labored over this, wanting every detail just right. And I know how you looked when they put me to rest here, how you looked when they assembled my marker, how you look still when you come to visit. You're thinking it's not fair, and you're right. But I would not trade a moment of it, James, not one. Sometimes the paper misses the hat, and we do not get everything we want. But you will go on, and you will build businesses and large, beautiful homes. You will serve your community and friends, and in time, you will love again. This is a large plot, and I know one day you plan on joining me, but that day is far off yet. When it comes, I will welcome you and every member of your family with open arms, because they will be mine too. In the meantime, know I am always here for you, your strongest supporter, your unwavering constant, even in death. And until we meet again on this plane, I'll be wishing you only good things. Happiness. Good books. A fine home. A loving companion. Success in all you do. A long life.